Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. Gage, Max, Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. YouTube live show with Gage, Max, and Joe. Never fired up and ready to go. Gage, Max, and Joe. Gage, Max, Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. Gage, Max, Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. YouTube live show with Gage, Max, and Joe. Never fired up and ready to go. Gage, Max, and Joe.
It is a beautiful Tuesday morning here. Joe,
Yes, it is.
I had a phenomenal weekend. How about yourself?
Absolutely extraordinary.
Absolutely. Max,
Yeah, mine
best
was
day,
great. Thanks for asking. Jeez.
best day of your life, Max?
Yeah, so far.
Best day of his life.
I actually stayed up late last night, and I wrote a paper. And when it's late at night, when I write a paper, what I do is I just put on like Sandstorm by like Darude, and I'm just like just jamming it out all night. And you can tell I kind of go like on a power trip because what I do is like you can tell by the writing. Like let's say if I'm writing about a flower, because it was about. Did you do your hula paper last night, Max?
Yeah.
Good, same. Writing about a flower, I'll be like, yeah, the flower's plucked, and then once the song picks up and I go like on my power trip, and it just turns into like a normal paragraph into like. Plucked from the hands of God. So it blocks so like you can just tell it just goes up higher, and the teacher's like, what the heck? Anyway, we got a good guest for you guys today. Madison McKibben, one of the bearded bros. He'll be on later. We'll be talking about life, love, the pursuit of happiness, all the above. We're going to go into our first segment here. Chalk Talk.
CHOCTR.
Chalk Talk.
Chockety tockety.
Woo! All right.
Our subject today, transition from club volleyball into the NCAA Division I volleyball. We have many friends who have kind of made this transition, especially from my club team, just friends all over, and we kind of have the same experience. The biggest experience is the commitment levels. The commitment levels are huge. I mean, you're waking up at 6 a.m. every day in the preseason for us. For not every team does this.
Joe's waking up at 3 and going to the stand 4 hours before practice.
Fired up.
And he drags me along with him. I'm just like kind of there at the staircase. Like,
It's a leader.
A little early though.
For me, so for this topic, it's really interesting. I get this question a lot from a lot of people, and the first thing I say is, if you're gonna go play volleyball in college, no matter what level, D1, D3, community college, NAIA, you've got the buy-in has to be that you have to love the game. There's too many kids, they show up freshman year and they want to do this club and they want to go party and they want to go stay up all night with their friends. And at Hawaii we have 6 a.m. practices, and it's really alarming for a lot of people to see how much time is put in. It's a job. Like the programs for the most part giving you money to come play at their program, so they expect you to be showing up every single morning. And that level of buy-in you don't see, and that's what actually separates, I think, most programs is from top down, the type of buy-in they have from their athletes.
I think it's crazy from our experience, whether it's volleyball or non-volleyball. You see a lot of D1 athletes that actually do not like their sport because I feel like they're just doing it one for the scholarship for the free, and they're just miserable. And I feel like they're not bought in, and that's why they're not a successful program, a successful player. And you see a lot of people quitting. You see, I mean, just a lot of just like mental health starts to decline because you're doing some repetitive that you don't like a lot. I know, Max, you've kind of had a different background than us.
Yeah,
I mean, you kind of went from 0 to 100 really quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, you kind of know how it is for
negative 100 to 100. Yeah.
But you're a good example of someone who bought in, even though he wasn't used to that level of buy-in before.
Yep. I think honestly, it's a weird comparison. I don't know if I can totally relate to you guys' experience, because I had a period where I was like 16 and 17 and I was just like not feeling volley. Like I was like, oh my God. But I don't know. I think that was honestly good for me, because then I just bought into it more. Like I wasn't like burnt out on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah. The other thing, I think you hear this a lot in our program from our head coach, Charlie Wade, is the phrase he uses, bigger, faster, stronger. And when you step into the next realm or the next stage in college volleyball, the guys, I know for me, I got there, I was this little scrawny kid, short, almost could walk under the net.
Look at him now, though.
And look at my biceps. And you really have to, it's a full commitment. In the weight room, you have to be able to be pushing yourself to make sure that you're able to go through an entire season. because most people don't realize the difference between a college season and a club season. And you're practicing every single day. You're lifting every single day. Your body has to be able to hold up. And most guys, they don't understand that. And they don't go as hard in the off season. And by middle of the season, they're tanking and their statistics are dropping off. And I think that's when you see freshmen on the floor, that's the biggest thing you see is late in the season, their performance drops off.
And that has to do with body management as well. Yeah. When it comes to any sports, the higher level you go, your body is your bread and butter. That's your moneymaker right there. Yeah. In the gym, you're surrounded by great players. So if you're surrounded by great players, that means once you drop off, someone's there to kind of take your spot. So if you get hurt, chances are another guy's taking your spot. So you see so many guys. I've done this before where it's like you're hurt. Mm-hmm. You still got to just sometimes I've taken like 3 or 4 painkillers sometimes and just got to get out there and just just play it out. Otherwise, because you're scared of someone taking your spot. Yeah. And that's how brutal it is. And you just got to survive the season.
Hey, this kind of relates to I was watching that Jordan documentary that started last night, The Last Dance. I don't know if you guys checked that out at all, but I was also watching just in the hype, the prep for it. I was watching this guy that used to be his weight trainer and how different it is. NBA players then versus now. Like they say LeBron spends like $3 million or something crazy on just his body alone every year. But I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting.
And I was talking about the schedule. You're playing tournaments. Sometimes you're playing 3 matches in a weekend, best of 5. And there was weekends where we had to play best of 5, literally all 5 sets in one weekend where we're playing back to back to back. And so that's really tough. Like I was saying before, it's the physical demand is different. You think about it from a club level, you play best of 3 and you're a little younger and the level of volleyball isn't as high, so you can kind of get through. But at the college level, it really takes a toll on you. And that body maintenance part of it is so huge. And Gage, I know, can attest to it because he's had to go through a few stages through his time at Hawaii. Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about here before we get on to our guest here is the actual volleyball aspect. And I think Gage and I call it more situational volleyball and how more important that is. And what did you realize the biggest thing coming into the college game? I mean, I knew that most years, for example, the biggest thing that kind of hit me, I knew most of the sets, okay, we're going to go to your pin hitters. But I didn't know, for example, if you're a right side and if it's out of system, like the ball's passed off the net, most of 60, 70% of the balls are coming to you. And if you want to be good teams, if you want to be a good team, that ball has to be killed about 90% of the time. And that's something that you don't really realize until you go to the higher levels. And the room for error is so much bigger. Like if you're playing an opponent like Long Beach or smaller or smaller room for error. My bad. Smaller. But if you're playing a high level opponent, the room for it's just so much smaller. And I mean, you see it's so much more mental. Exactly. Like we talk about this. The next stage is so much more mental. And when you talk about me as a player, I'm a setter, and so coaches a lot of times like to throw a lot of stats at me. And I've never been huge on it, but over time I've gotten more I've adapted to that and been able to implement that in my own game. And stuff like side out, first ball side out, point scoring, that type of stuff. Like when they brought it to me, I'm like, okay, I just want to play. Like I'm not sitting here trying to worry about getting the numbers up. But if you look at the correlation between those numbers and teams that win, it's 100%. Like you have to be good in siding out, a first ball side out, so the ball that serves siding out that first time, and then point scoring off your serve. You have to be really high in those numbers. And you see the top teams, you're not going to be a top team if you're not high in those numbers. And for me, I'm like, all right, you have to be like good in those. But for me, it's like, let's just play volleyball. I didn't really understand until later in my collegiate career, now in my professional career, that how important those numbers are in success at that level. I think it's crazy how fast you can lose a game. Like, especially if 4th, 5th set or 3rd set, depending on who won the first 2. You can lose a game like that, like in a play. Like in this situation, you need to score or else you're losing. And I think this is crazy. Let's get Madison McKibben on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the proud recipient of the sexiest beer alive, Madison McKibben.
Beating out Jason Momoa.
Madison, how are we doing? Thanks for having you on the show today.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I heard there's a rumor that you might be shaving your beard soon. Is that true?
That is not true. I thought about it a few times, but no, I can't, dude. I can't. It's been
who takes better care of their beard, you or your brother?
Riley for sure.
Really?
What does he do?
That thing.
He trims his own and he keeps it short. Me, I just keep it long and I never go to the barber. He trims his own. I bought a buzzer to trim it, and I haven't because we're in quarantine. This is the same reason why I grew it. because I could. So I probably need to trim it, but whatever. I don't really care
I
anymore.
mean, you could let that thing go, and it could be like, could you play volleyball like down here? I mean, it's gotta be hard
when
playing
when
that
we first came back, it was like down to here. It was
Oh my
really bad.
God,
Really
Like-
bad.
that's
It
gotta
was
be
not
so
really
hard playing beach.
acceptable.
Oh my God,
No, dude, it's not that bad. I
Really?
think the one benefit of it is if you're super tired, you know, most people fix the line or they like go and talk to the ref. I like act like I sand in my face. And really, it doesn't affect me at all. But I'm like, wait, 1 second. Okay, I'm good.
Smart man.
That's one of the benefits.
A little background of Madison McKibben here. Played a year in Greece.
Yeah.
Professional volleyball indoor.
Maybe a year, man. Not really a year.
So we want to kind of get into now a professional beach volleyball player.
Okay.
The San Francisco tour stop. First place.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
In the
you.
Bay Area. No better place to be.
Thank you.
I want you to talk about kind of what you missed from the indoor game
Okay.
and something that you are happier kind of away from in the indoor game.
Okay, so I'll go the negative first. Why I'm happy I'm not playing indoor is because, like, my body was done. My knees, I had so many injuries in college, like ankle, which led to shin. I redshirted my senior year at SC, so I had to take that year off. I did a 5th year. So, like, I'm happy to not play indoor because my body couldn't handle it. And and then the other part, what am I happy? Oh, what I miss about playing indoor?
Yeah.
You know, I've been watching some indoor YouTube videos and I still go back to it. I think what's fun about indoor is running like an offense and running a tempo set and doing that sort of stuff. I enjoy, and like we've kind of taken a little bit of that from the indoor game and run a little bit different of sets because traditionally it's just straight up and down.
Right.
But, you know, it's been fun to go like a quick 2-ball or a shoot to the pin. And so I think having that combination of playing indoor and beach and kind of bringing that over has been very beneficial. And if you see some of the teams on the international level, I mean, some of the best teams still go straight up and down, but you have like Adrian Karambula, who I think is like one of the most entertaining people to watch.
Yeah.
And he's running shoot sets and all this different stuff. So I like bringing that part of the indoor game to the beach, but we need to fine tune our passing and setting before we get to that point.
Right.
We're still trying it, and I love it. So if that answers your question.
No, yeah, for
for sure.
sure. I mean, I see for smaller players such as ourselves when we're playing together, I feel like if you're a smaller player, you kind of move around, and usually you're quicker. So I feel like you see a lot of the smaller players nowadays kind of moving around, shooting at the pin, speeding up their offense, and I think that's kind of revolutionizing the game. I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the other thing you talked about, I think on the beach side, the biggest difference people don't realize is you have to, a lot of it's very independent, and having all those injuries on the indoor side, I'm sure you had a lot more resources at SC to be able to help with that. On the beach side, have you had anything, and how have you dealt with those?
You know, we haven't had any major ones.
Knock on wood.
Compared to indoor career, yeah, knock on wood. But I know, I mean, going to SC or even UH for you guys have a lot of the resources there. You know, on the beach side, in order to get that from the USA, you have to be like top 8 per gender, so they get treatment. Luckily, we have a sponsor here in Manhattan Beach Cities Orthopedics, that helps us out with a lot of our stuff. So thank God we have that, because a lot of the stuff that I've realized, you know, people ask me, oh, how can I get my jump higher and whatnot? Like, a lot of our training that we do now is really more injury prevention and just being in good condition than like hitting harder or jumping higher. Like, I've never been able to increase my vertical from college to professional, but it's really just injury prevention. And so hopefully when people make that transfer to the beach, you can figure out someone who's going to take care of you like they do at UH. And
Yeah, I think you see a lot of the indoor players, especially when they get older, when their joints start hurting more, you see them transition to the beach more. So coming from a brother beach duo here, we kind of want to talk about the duo with you and your brother. There have definitely been some struggles with my brother and I. I mean, how long have you and your brother been playing together?
I'm going to throw it to you guys. You guys played at UH together for what, 1-2 years?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. Did you guys play together growing up?
Yeah, our entire life, yeah. We were on the same team our whole life. Beach partners, yeah, everything. We were always.
Okay.
Except
there's one tournament. One time we my dad was like, he was so fed up with us because we were acting like a bunch of brats together, and like Joe threw sand in my face or whatever. A bunch of stuff leading up to it, just bickering all the time. We won, but there was just like, my dad was just over it. He's like, you know what, you guys, in this next tournament, you have to play with someone that you've never played before. So he finds the worst volleyball players that he could find imaginable. It's like, okay, you're with him, and then you're with him. The kids were ecstatic. They're like, yes,
Okay.
we're gonna do it, right?
And if they're watching this,
If they're watching this-
I don't know what to say.
But then I end up beating Joe. I got the better of the draw. I got the better other partner. And my brother was so mad. Remember, I think I ended up winning it. And then we were by the sea, and he by the ocean, just cooling off afterwards. And my brother wouldn't even talk to me. And he just looked at me, and he found a piece of seaweed, like a whip of seaweed, and he chased me up and down the beach, just trying to whip me with the seaweed.
What is this, like 2018, 2019?
Yeah, like last year.
No. This is
Still
like,
could happen,
I
honestly.
think we were like 14, 15, and my brother and my dad had come separate us, and it was just a mess though. But
Anytime I would lose, it would have to turn to a fight. Anything growing up.
I mean, I think that comes with territory. That's standard. If I ever beat Riley, there was a fight for sure, 100%. We would. So the kind of reverse of you guys, Riley and I never played together growing up. Our parents didn't allow it. We fought too much.
Yeah.
So that never ever happened. We did play together in high school, college, overseas, and now the beach together. But dude, like you said, if Riley always had to win growing up, we'd play basketball, and I would always lose, and at a younger age. And I would I would race into the house, and I'd lock him out. I'd tell my mom I won. Mom, I won. That was my victory. And he would run around the house yelling, like, because I'd lock him out. He could not, even though he beat me, he could not stand that my mom thought that he lost. So that is what it's like.
Has there ever been like a part? Because first of all, what kind of minute that really shift for you guys to get into a partnership, and then personal experience? There's been times where Joe and I, we are the tallest players, so there's been times where like, should we break up? Has there ever been a consideration with you and your brother at all, or no?
So just a little history behind that. And I think some people can relate to this. High school, I was great. College, I was terrible. I went to Greece to kind of like find that like love for volleyball again.
Right.
And I only played there for a few months, and it was a terrible situation. And long story short, like Riley left early. I stayed, but I ended up getting dropped. And so I moved in with Riley, and I'd already done 1 year of grad school at SC because I got injured. And I was sitting at the table with him, and I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm over volleyball. Like, I've had my injuries. I haven't been able to like find that like love again for it. And so he's like, dude, like, I'm kind of over indoor. Let's just go to the beach and try playing beach, because we grew up playing on the beach. So I was like, no. I said no. And then we had a few more bottles of wine the following night. And he convinced me. I was like, all right, I'm down. I'm down to go and try the beach. So, he's a big reason why I started playing beach. And, we're kind of undersized. But I think there's a real value of playing with your sibling and what that's like. And it's hard to weather the storm. The highs are highs and the lows are lows, but there's a big gratification winning with your sibling, as you guys well know. So that's kind of the background of that whole relationship that a lot of people don't know, but I think a lot of volleyball players fall into that category sometimes of like,
Right.
dude, I'm over this, and trying to find that again. So anyway.
Okay. And I want to kind of get in the media aspect of volleyball. So you guys run a volleyball channel, McKibben Brothers. McKibben Brothers. A very, very high quality volleyball show. Not show, I guess, YouTube channel. And one thing we kind of talked about earlier is about the lack of media in volleyball. And when there is media in volleyball, they have no idea kind of, I'd say like 40 or.
Yeah, there's a lot of times like they just don't have like a clear understanding of what's actually going on with the level of the game or what actually happened in the game, we feel.
So, and I feel like, did that inspire you to kind of start the YouTube channel, or what kind of inspired you?
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of evolved. We started doing it because we both kind of liked making videos. It's funny, like, ended up finding out that Riley should have been a film student at SC, but we were both business. Like I said, it's kind of weird how it all worked out. My senior year, I got hurt. I redshirted. I was already going to graduate from business school. So I was like, what grad program could I get into? and it was communication management at USC. Long story short, I was not planning to do that. I had no interest in doing it, but I had a few classes that forced me to make videos and learn how to use Premiere Pro and all this stuff. And so Riley was kind of interested in that, and I was kind of forced to do it, but I ended up really, really liking it. And so we kind of played around with these ideas when we were overseas. I think our first idea, we were going to call ourselves like the PETA Pirates. And make videos.
Sounds like a missed
when we were in
opportunity to me.
Greece. I know, no, totally missed opportunity, but we didn't really know how to go about it, what to do. I took this class called Transmedia. It's basically like taking a narrative and adopting it to as many different platforms as possible, right? So we take like this PETA Pirates, and we'd have like a Spotify or reading list or website and all this different stuff. We didn't really know how to go about it. So that never really took off.
Jeez.
And then, dude, I mean, I recommend to everyone playing overseas, volleyball players, please share with us your experiences, because our time in Greece probably would have been
Wild.
Probably would have been some of our best videos ever, but we didn't know what the hell we were doing. I have some footage locked in a vault, but it's not appropriate.
It's not coming out.
Not appropriate.
YouTube channel.
But no, so we got into it. I think one of the big things, it's funny how this leads to it. I got hurt, went to grad school, that led to me getting into it. 2017, Riley broke his hand at the start of the season. And so like, I say that because another injury led to Riley really putting a lot of his energy into starting, our Instagram account for us and our YouTube channel. I think at the time we were kind of coming out with videos, but he like went full board into it. Kind of similar to the situation we're in now. We're in quarantine. You guys start this, and it's a phenomenal opportunity, and you guys are doing a great job. But it's funny how these things kind of come up out of nowhere. And there's a common thread of that through a lot of people. If you take Triborn, for example, being out for 2 years and starting the Sandcast and pursuing broadcasting, it's really cool to see some of these players taking the opportunity to explore these different pathways and going somewhere and then joining it back to volleyball, which I think is great. You guys are doing it. Sandcast, Kelsey Robinson and Brian Cook have their YouTube channel.
They have a
Of course,
great
the
channel.
Volley Vikings. So I think we're at a place where there's a lot more media, and it's cool everyone finding their niche, such as what you guys are doing.
Yeah, for sure. And I was watching your YouTube video, the Black Book of the AVP, and I saw that about your media day last year about how did you just like generic questions. And I was just thinking, I was like, I never had a volleyball idol growing up. And I think a big part of that is the media, and you don't see it. I mean, unless you're like a European or like from Brazil, about like Giba back in the day or other great players. But as I grew up, I took aspects of different sports. I was like, oh, I want to be like that. Not physical aspects, but kind of mental. What I kind of want to be, and bring that back to volleyball. And I feel like volleyball starting kind of with the big YouTube channels, growing. I feel like that's a way for kids to watch. Because the biggest thing is for like when kids learn sport or find passion for the sport and want to get better, the biggest thing is they got to watch it and they got to understand it. And I feel like a lot of behind stuff that you guys are doing and the other channels that you mentioned are doing, kind of giving behind the curtain access of everything. And I think that's huge for growing the sport. And just something that I kind of noticed about.
No, I'd agree. I mean, you brought up Giba, and it's funny. Like, he was probably the guy that I looked up to. I loved watching. The only reason why we got to see him was the Olympics every 4 years and his YouTube videos. I don't know if you've seen all of our videos, but we got to meet Giba.
Yeah, I saw
Snow Volleyball. And, dude, he came up to us, and he was wearing these sunglasses, so we didn't recognize him. And he said something to Riley, and I was like, who's this guy? And then he walks away, and then we see who he is. We're like, oh, my God. I was like, Riley, what did you say to him? He's like, I didn't know who he was. And we ended up getting Giba on camera. All of us were a few beers deep. But I was like, dude, I would love to interview you. He's like, oh, let's do it right now. And he just runs up the hill in the snow, and he just starts telling us kind of his life story. And I've never been shell-shocked or starstruck in my life with a volleyball player, but I was with him because I watched him. And I say that because like YouTube does give younger people an opportunity to see some of these best players. And, I think Titans Volleyball on YouTube does a great job of making smaller bits of content around some of the best players. But, and we're slowly seeing, Matt Anderson and Mike, not slowly. I mean, they are the best in the U.S., but I think it's narrowing that gap between the youth and the superstars of our sport.
Yeah.
Right.
Micah's a great person, Matt Anderson, and there's some more players that are up and coming. So I think just narrowing that gap between the youth and the superstars is going to help tremendously.
Yep.
Now, we're not the superstars, but we're the people in the middle just making videos about whatever we want.
Exactly.
So,
Making videos of the superstars. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
yeah, exactly.
I want to kind of take it back to that snow volleyball. How did that get started? How did you guys get into snow volleyball? I mean, how did that all kind of come about?
Okay, how that worked out was we got a Facebook message from this Italian guy, and we didn't know who he was. Facebook. Randomly meet people in volleyball.
Right.
But he's like, hey, I'm having a snow volleyball event in Prato di Nevoso, Italy. Would you guys be willing to come? We're like, yeah, we're in. It was not FIVB sanctioned, wasn't CEV sanctioned. It was literally like just a random local snow volleyball tournament. We're like, yeah, we're in. Paid for our flight and everything. And then we found out that there was an FIVB tournament the following weekend. So there was one U.S. team that got their way paid for. We didn't get our way paid for by USA. There was this other guy, Mateo. And so we played in that local tournament, which was so much fun. And then we drove across country from like western near France all the way to the Dolomites in like the Northwest with no plans in between, none. And Riley said we would just figure it out because Riley played in Italy for 3 years. He could speak Italian. And to say the least, it was one of the most amazing trips we've ever been from tournament to tournament. We like randomly met someone at a restaurant who offered up their family's Airbnb on the hillside of a lake, which was a restored barn, which was incredible. And then his best friend owns and runs a pizza restaurant at the top of the mountain that no one really knows about, but it's the best pizza in all of northern Italy. And so we went up there, and it's the trips we've been on where we've just said yes to and not really have plans. It's probably not the best way to go about it, but it's definitely been the most entertaining. I'll say that.
Create some great stories, I'm sure.
Dude, we have so many, and like it's funny because filming and vlogging, it's a lot. It's hard. And you just kind of kick yourself when you're not filming all the time. You're not capturing all those things.
Yeah.
A lot of those stories don't even make our videos because we're like, it's finding that middle ground of like enjoying yourself, experience it, and then like documenting it.
Exactly. I mean, I took a trip to Japan. Max, there was a term you kind of told me about is the mind's eye is the best camera. And I think you got to find like a balance between, okay, you're living in the moment and then recording it. And I think when you're experiencing so much, you want to record it or you want to live in it. I think that's that's a hard,
it is
a fine line right there.
No, for sure. And like one thing I've realized is like, I mean, being able to look back on it and have it though, I've went back to some 2018 stuff because you talked about media day with AVP. I'm looking for footage and I'm like, just having this sort of stuff is like, it's so gold. So I always remind myself, this is something I want to have for the rest of my life. And we have our not big rigs, but digital cameras. And one thing I've realized is like just having this though, and just, put it horizontally. Horizontally and filming it, like doesn't have to be the highest quality, but if you can capture it, it's pretty good. But like you said, it's finding that middle ground of experiencing and filming it. So anyway,
very cool.
Last question before you let you off here. As you say before, the reality is you said the top 8 players for taking care of your body, got taken care of, top 8 players for USA. And again, the reality of our sport is unless you're like one of those top players, because there is money in volleyball, you just have to be one of those top players and get the sponsorships and whatnot. And I think it's very similar for beach and indoor. How many players are living paycheck to paycheck in the AVP, and how many have like separate other jobs and like financially?
That's a good question, and no one's in the same situation, and it's hard to kind of tell how much money people are making from sponsorships. Some people are extremely good at that, and other players not so much. But I would say there's I don't know. I'd say within the top few teams, 50-50 have jobs on the side, but a lot of it has to do with volleyball, whether it's coaching or whatnot. It's hard to tell. And something that I'd like to know. I mean, if I could better understand how much people are getting paid for X, Y, and Z, it would be easier for someone like myself and all beach players to accurately, tell sponsors what, a logo on their jersey is worth. Like that's something that I'm really interested in, and I don't have all the answers, but I'm interested in learning about it. Like the business of sports is something I'm incredibly interested in. And there's one company called Gum Gum Sports, and they use artificial intelligence to appropriately evaluate what a logo is worth in different locations of an arena or on someone's jersey, which I think is incredible. But they work with brands to say, hey, this is how much this is worth. And I'm interested from the athlete's perspective of, because we have to sell ourselves, of trying to evaluate, what is a logo on my shorts worth, or if I make it to, a Sunday on Amazon and I know that viewership as well as my social media following, how can I accurately price it? Because there is no standardized way of going about it. You guys playing indoor, you guys get your paychecks. Well, sorry, Gage, not you, but get your paychecks and get the money from sponsors. But we're completely opposite. We got to be our own agents for the most part.
Yeah, and I think people like who aren't in the sports world don't understand that thing about your value as an athlete and understanding that. And people are like, oh, they're just acting unspoiled and they're just athletes who are big headed and stuff. And there's like, you look at the different industries in college football and basketball and how much money these people are making off these people or off these athletes and these students. And even in the professional world where the guys are underpaid. We saw like last night, I don't know who watched The Last Dance with Scottie Pippen, how underpaid he was. That was ridiculous.
I know.
And people don't understand like there's these companies who are making so much money off these athletes and are trying to underpay them, obviously, so that they are benefiting from that. And it's really tough to explain to, I think, people who don't understand sports about why these athletes believe that they're worth this much money.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to contract, especially on the NBA and NFL, I'm sure they have it broken down for the most part. But when you try to negotiate how much an athlete's worth to endorse a brand, that's something I would like a little bit more insight on. Because for me, I'm not comfortable going to a company and saying, hey, pay me X amount of dollars because I said so, or because that's what other companies have paid me. It's much easier trying to talk to companies like, this is how I've come to this number. This is the value I can provide. That's something that Riley and I take very seriously. If we don't feel like we can provide value to a company, then we don't approach them or go after them. But to really find how you can be of value to them, if it's through Instagram stories or a company that you really, really like, it's like, that's one thing that I think some athletes miss. It's like, how can I provide value in a unique way with the platforms that I have? Because I think there is some utility to it, and then appropriately trying to find out what that is worth and not trying to break the bank on these companies that maybe their marketing budget is not as big as these bigger companies that you talked about in the NCAA.
Right on.
Madison, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Really awesome
For
stuff.
those watching, make sure you go subscribe to McKibben brothers out there. They have a phenomenal YouTube channel, growing the game and just doing a lot for everyone. Thank you for blessing us with your beard and your phenomenal looks, Madison. You have a great
Thanks
day.
for having
so much.
us. Everyone watching, subscribe to these guys' YouTube channel.
You hear that?
No, I love what you guys are doing. You guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Madison.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Laters, guys.
Aloha.
Wow, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed. I had a beard, didn't mention it at all. I shaved my beard, but didn't even mention my mustache. From one finely groomed man to another, I just expected some love, but I guess I just didn't get. Max, where's your landing strip?
Dude, I shaved it, man. I was just intimidated, man. You can't have a guy who looks like Grover Cleveland come on the show and then have a little strip right there and to shave it off.
Joe's growing a little neck beard. Your favorite.
Little neck beard.
I love it. You're
That's
just
what
missing a fedora.
That's what you call the Rick and Morty fans, yeah, a bunch of neck beards.
Yeah. No offense, to watch.
But yeah, I mean, that was definitely some. When you get guys like that who are, I mean, because they're running a big YouTube channel and they're growing the game fast. I think
They're really they're putting together a really solid brand, and I think they're doing a lot of good stuff for the sport of volleyball.
I think that's the biggest thing. Grow the sport. A lot of everything's online on the media. I think the biggest thing is just kind of grow it. Let them know how it is. Because, like, if you looked up, 5 years ago, how to get recruited or how to do blah, 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 or what a game's like, what's stuff after volleyball or whatever, they would have nothing. But I think now it's coming to surf, and I think it's being really, really good.
And showing up to a volleyball tournament, and you can ask kids, all right, who are your favorite team for the players for the national team? And they'll be able to tell you actual players. Like 5 years ago, besides like besides like the top players who know kind of who's in the national team pipeline. Besides that, you ask anybody their favorite athletes. It's all NBA players, NFL stars. For me, growing up, it was all those type of athletes. There was no volleyball players I was really looking up to.
So we just started a blog and a website here by the local Joe 808 here.
Local Joe. Start up a website. It is in my Instagram bio. We're going to be making that public here on all of our social media platforms. So you guys go check it out. We're going to be having a blog where we kind of update you guys on how things are going and what we're thinking about with our show and with our YouTube channel and things we want to get into. So please go ahead and check that out. And then also, we made this public also this past week. We would love to come and drop in. We've gotten a lot of people request us to come speak to their teams, to come speak to their clubs about whatever it is. We'll talk about volleyball.
We got nothing to do now.
Yeah, exactly. So hit us up. We love coming talking volleyball with you guys, talking about the show, whatever you guys want to do. So please have your coaches, directors reach out to us if you want us to come speak with you guys. We'd love to do that.
Exactly. And next show, we have the Stein Van Tilburg. You guys have been asking for him. Get the people what they want.
Stein Van
Tilburg here.
The Flying Dutchman.
Exactly.
Dutchman.
We'll have a good show on for you guys then. But for the moment we all been waiting for, the winners of the giveaway. We're gonna give it to Joe and Gage here. So Joe, Gage, take it away. What's up, everyone? Gage Worsley here. Joe Worsley here. We're here to announce the first giveaway from the USA jacket. We took all the people that tagged 2 friends below, that subscribed to our channel, put it in a random simulator, and got a winner. The congratulations to Bella Trigillis from Michigan. You are our first out-of-system giveaway winner. We'll be in contact with you soon, so make sure you look in your DMs. We'll be in your DMs. Now, if you didn't win, do not be discouraged. We will be doing giveaways every 2 weeks. So about a week from now, we'll announce another thing. And I promise you, it's worth the wait. I guarantee you're going to want to see it. Stay tuned, guys.